Yo.
That beat always make me want to freestyle.
Yeah, I feel like I'm supposed to just break out a rap.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome.
It's been a
Welcome
couple
back.
weeks.
Yeah, it's been what, like it's been 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because you were out adventuring out in the west
Yeah.
with the dogs and coyotes and cacti. Aaron was in the east with Ben Franklin and Ben Franklin's relatives and statues and stadiums.
They love that man out there, boy. They love that man out there,
Do they?
bro. I ain't never seen nothing like it. I ain't never seen nothing like it.
Was it was just like statues everywhere, or like what was the vibe?
It was just like, well, obviously, Philly still takes great pride in being one of the, founding cities, I believe. Was Philly the capital of the United States at some point? You would
I
think
know
so.
that's where they wrote like the Constitution, like Independence Hall is there, but I don't know if it was.
Yeah, is that the vibe?
Yeah, it's definitely that. It's like founding fathers Parkway type vibes. Like everything is named after, like, I'm sure,
Ben Drive, Ben Ave,
Ben Cooking,
Franklin
running
Boulevard, Ben True, Ben Trill,
everything. But yeah, very, very founding fathers coded. So yeah, if you really like America, go to Philly. You'll see a lot of.
Wait, is that the city brotherly love?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Did you feel? I mean, did you when you got off the plane? Did you be like, oh man, I feel the love?
No, it's still an East Coast city, and the East Coast don't care about nobody.
So really, like, so that's like kind of cap, like that's like false advertisement.
I mean, it's stuff about love everywhere. They portray it well, but
okay.
But realistically, it's like, no, these people are East Coast.
Just busy. Get out my way.
Jersey, like it's very much hustle and bustle. Like not that Midwest nice that we used to.
I don't even know if that is even a thing anymore.
Midwest nice?
Yeah. It is. If TikTok has taught me anything.
What? Wait. Okay.
You can see it. You can see like the Midwest comedians on TikTok. There's definitely a whole vibe of like how Midwest nice we are. Open, sorry, and
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I think it's like Southern hospitality, Midwest nice, and then like East Coast just not caring about anything. Like then people don't. They don't care. Like
East Coast, like everybody for yourself.
For sure.
Canada is nicer than the Midwest, though, right? I mean, are we
stereotypically? Yeah.
Stereotypically.
Well, maybe not for long, but
I mean, once they turn up, once they cut our electricity off, then it all that all goes away.
My dad was telling me he took a trip to Nebraska for a Michigan State football game, and he said the people in Nebraska were so nice. He said, if you all come to Michigan State or Michigan for a football game, please do not expect the same level of hospitality that you guys are giving us in Nebraska.
Yeah, don't think we're going to return the favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Is Nebraska's Midwest?
I think so. Yeah.
It's funny, though, looking at the country and then calling, like, Michigan Midwest. Like looking at the map, it's like, okay, you guys named this before you got all the way to California, didn't you?
Yeah, there's a lot of west.
There's a lot, and trust me, I know there's a lot going on out west.
Are we mid yet?
Yeah. So this is the what show is this? The PR Project.
PR Project.
Welcome to the PR Project, episode number 108. We are here. We skipped a couple of weeks because a lot of stuff was going on. But we're back. And we were back to talk about a few different things. We all have multiple things to talk about, at least, right? Where are we starting?
I need to start real quick.
Wait, no, hold on. Sorry, no, we're not. We don't have to talk about this directly, but first off, I need the chat to go crazy, like drop some emojis or something like that, or some high fives or some claps for Aaron.
Yeah.
This show is called PR Project. Bro went out and dropped a PR in Philly. Can we just get like for the namesake of the show, thank you so much for handling business in Philly.
Come on, man. We know what the people are here for. I appreciate that. But we know the people are here to hear the stories. So first of all, let's get more W's in the chat. Let's get hand claps in the chat for Tommy's huge accomplishment in completing the OG route for the Speed Project solo. Gotta clap it up. Gotta show some love.
Thank you.
340 miles.
I don't normally pat myself on the back much, but
the fact that you can pat yourself on the back after doing all of that is crazy. So
right. Yeah. So I guess you want to talk about that first.
I think the people are here.
Yeah, let's just talk. Let's talk about that. So let's talk about the Speed Project solo. I'm gonna change the thing on here. I'm just gonna do OG route 340 miles. You know what I'm saying? Because that's part of the story. All right. So Aaron, I saw you earlier. And you saw how I'm still kind of struggling to not struggling, but I just it's just a lot of thoughts because there was a lot of time out there. So I may need your help to some of the questions that you had that you've been kind of kicking around. So
absolutely.
I'll just start off by kind of describing it. So if you are not unaware, the Speed Project is a thing that started about 12 years ago. 7 crazy friends got together in LA, Santa Monica area, and they ran from Santa Monica to Las Vegas. And they went on this original route, which was 340 miles that they created or whatever, right? They go through Death Valley and all this other stuff. And so then they started to do this thing as a race, but it was a relay race. In the last few years, people started doing it. I don't know how many years, but it wasn't always a solo effort. Then people started saying, I want to do this alone. So they started letting people do it alone. The thing about it is there is no rules to this race other than, assuming run all the miles, if you're solo, you got to do it yourself. You can't, not run. Can't have somebody run for you. You got to do all the miles that you do, but there is no direction. So some people ran 290 because they have a different route. Some people ran 295, 300, 320, whatever. But there is one route that is strict. Well, not strict, but it's just a route given. And that's the OG route. And the OG route is the longest route that is acknowledged, I guess, which is 340 miles. I signed on doing this a while back, and I think it's just maybe who I am, I guess. I just was automatically I'm gonna do the OG route because it's just in my head. If I'm gonna do something crazy like this that I thought was impossible at one point, I want to do the one that I just want to do the one, the route, And then as we got closer to the race, started hearing more things about that OG route and didn't realize, but only 2 people had completed the OG route prior to me. And it's not saying that people started the OG route, just to be clear. It's not saying people started the OG route and then just didn't ever finish. It's that there's points in that route where you could turn right and you cut off 20, 30, 40 miles, depending on where you make that, you turn off, There's this one point you're on Death Valley Road where there's this power line section where you literally could turn right there and cut off 40 miles and just go straight to Vegas, So it's a very firm decision to pass that point. And that's the last point, I believe, that you can, that's the point of no return unless you just double back and go back because you said forget it, right? But so hats off to everybody that's ever finished TSP solo in general, because whether it's 290 to 340, it's absolutely insane. And And then, but big shout out to the folks that like just decided like I'm staying on the OG route. Good, bad, or ugly. So that's what happened. So I started on Monday morning, 2 Mondays ago. 2 Mondays ago, and finished early morning on Sunday. So it was a 6-day journey, and it was absolutely amazing, transformative, terrible, beautiful, everything in between. And I don't know else where to start.
Okay, so I don't think we need to like chronologically like map out like okay, what was this?
Day one.
Mile one.
Day one. Picture it.
Hey, so mile one,
California.
mile one though, I was running with like 5-6 people, because everybody starts at the same time, and I didn't realize it, but people disperse almost immediately. Like there's people that go straight, people go left. I didn't realize that. I was like, I looked at a couple people I know. I'm like, where you going? He's like, I'm going this way, and I'm like, well, I guess I gotta stay over on this OG route. But a few people, like 5-6 people, were running with me. And mile one, like I put my phone out like as a joke, and was like, mile one, like because we had a long way to go. But yeah. All right. So what you got?
So I would say let's start. I have some more intimate details of how this was coming together. So let's start with that week leading up to it. I know you were dealing with some issues with your body, and you weren't able to maybe finish out the end of your training in the way that you planned. So talk to us about what you were dealing with and what was the thoughts going into it.
Bro, so the Saturday before the race, I think I like tweaked my Achilles, my left Achilles. So I've like kind of dealt with Achilles tendonitis over time, and so I felt like, oh, I should just not finish this run. So I didn't, but I thought that it would be gone, but it like the pain, the discomfort lasted. So I didn't run at all week until the Sunday before like the day before TSP. Like I ran like 3 miles that day, just because at some point I was like I don't think I need to shake out too much. Like I had done a lot of work, 4 like 100+ mile weeks in a row. So I'm like, I did the work, and there's no point in me like testing this out on a Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or even Saturday. It felt crazy being there because they had like group runs, just kind of like, hey, pop up, meet up at 7 a.m. You want to go for a run? And I would pull up because I had people with me that were also running. So the crew ran a couple of those runs, but I just sat in the coffee shop and waited, like, because I just didn't want to like risk it. So like I was very nervous about because an Achilles like thing is like once that pain gets going, like I don't know if you finish in, I don't know if you're running 100 miles or 20 or 50, so I was super worried about that. But like as the day before, I just ran like 3 miles or so, and I felt pretty confident that I could, like, as long as it never flared up crazy, we're good. And I threw KT tape on. I bought some heel wedges just to make sure, like, to take whatever precautions I could. So I was nervous going into it, but never had any Achilles issue the entire time, like not even a little bit, which was like, I was surprised actually.
Yeah, that's a blessing that it didn't come, because like like small things like, well, not saying it was small, but even like small things like that can be exacerbated to a pretty high degree when you're putting your body through something that intense. So so beyond that, let's get into some of the planning and logistics ideas that you guys had going in. So like, was there a mileage goal or time goal for each day? Did you have checkpoints? Did you guys go over that kind of stuff? I'm sure you did, but so what was the plan with that?
So like, big shout out to, there's a guy named Malcolm from New York. He's done TSP solo like 3 times, and he was like one of like the elder statesmen of like the race. So like he didn't run this year, but he was involved in this program of getting like more like representation to the starting line. I wasn't part of that program, but he definitely like tapped in as soon as he found out that I was doing solo, and he actually jumped on a few calls with me and my crew, and like walked us through like the OG route, because he did it last year. He's one of the 3 people that have finished the OG route. So he shared his route with us. Well, the route's the route, but he shared like all the pins and stuff that he's dropped along the way, like all this information, telling us what to watch out for. So our goal was to obviously follow that and kind of like meet these like certain checkpoints a little bit, and that's where like we knew what to look out for. But our goal my daily goal was 65 to 70 miles a day. And that was just knowing that I wanted to be close. I would wanted to be close to maybe be like within striking distance of finishing in 5 days. Like if everything went well, like that would have been perfect to finish like Friday night or like early Saturday morning. So that was the goal. And so we started off like that went fairly well the first few days, but then we kind of like I ran into some hip issues. So it was just kind of like derailed from that. But the goal, like I'd never I only did a marathon before this. Like, so there was like the longest I ever ran was 32 miles, which was in training for this, like 3 weeks before this. So I don't have any, none of us had any experience with ultras or like crewing forward or whatever. So to say like, hey, 65, 70 miles was like kind of like wild, but that I knew that anything like less than that as a goal was just kind of like you just prolonging the inevitable, which is like getting to Vegas.
Right. One of the first things I thought, and this is, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but seeing you guys running in LA, just like on the sidewalk, it's just like, I know sometimes when I'm on like a long run or if I'm doing like a workout or something, I'll think like, I wonder what these people in these cars think, like how far you think I'm running or whatever like that. So when I saw y'all stories from LA, I'm like, I wonder if these people driving by knows that these people are planning to run until they get to Las Vegas. Like that's insane. Like if you ask anybody, like, what do you think about this guy right here, starting right here, and he's gonna run all the way to Vegas?
Yeah.
So like,
no, it's like I thought about that a lot. Like, it's just funny, like thinking about like I wonder if they know I'm about to.
like these people, like I'm only like on a Monday morning, like.
Right. Like, how people, when we run and people would be like, good job, like I wanted to be like just say something quick back, like, oh, I'm going to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like good job. I'm like, you don't even know what you're saying good job for, bro. Like, it definitely crossed my mind a bunch, especially like actually after a certain point, you just stop thinking about a lot of that. But definitely when we, not to get to the end, but when I got to Vegas, like every time somebody said something to me, I was, like, it's really bad, bro. It's like, how like he'd be like, yeah, just ran a marathon. It's like, yeah, ran from Los Angeles. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? But it was funny. Like that first California part was really cool because it still felt like a long run. You really weren't in any hot water yet, so there was no like fear. I was going into this race. I've never been more calm. You know what I'm saying? I've never been more calm going into like at the start line of a race. I wasn't nervous. I just didn't know if there's anything to be nervous for. Like it's just asking for you to be, your body to be very strong and your mind to be as sharp as possible for as long as possible. And I felt like my body was ready. It's just like getting worked up about something like that is you just starting in a bad spot.
Yeah. So day one, which is, this is crazy to say. So day one, you ran your most miles you ever ran in a day. Like literally the first day. By like
33 miles
of your like longest run ever. You did that. So where were you at the end of that first day on a scale to 1 to 10? Like, I think I can finish this. I feel decent. How were you?
Nah. Like mile like 55 or like Monday was the most. Monday for day one. I'm about to. So Ern is on the crew. Talking about wasn't that bad for real. Get this out of here. I'm about to boot Ern out the group. So Monday was by far. Monday was a elevation gain was 5,400 feet. So that's like it was, or maybe 5,600. So over a mile gain, elevation gain in one day. So like by the end of day one, I was like mentally done. Physically was just like, yo, this is crazy. I was proud, but I was like, just cut it. I was supposed to get to 65. I wanted to. I cut it at 64. It was like, I'm not going any further than this RV right here. So we took a picture next to the sign or whatever. And then we actually was like, we was close to a hotel. So we grabbed a hotel that night just to like reset, you know what I'm saying? And I almost passed out in the lobby. Like I limped my way in there feeling fine. I thought, I just felt a little weird. And then I'm like trying to like deal with the lady at the front counter. And all of a sudden I just told him like, I can't. And I just started backing away from her.
This is gonna sound
And
stupid, but what, do you think it was the air conditioning? Like that sudden
maybe,
jolt of like cold air.
I don't know what if I felt nauseous. Like all of a sudden it just went like, and I didn't faint, but I felt like I got pulled to sit down. Like so, I sat down I sat on the floor, laid on my back in the middle of the lobby of like a Hampton Inn or whatever, and I called the crew like, y'all gotta come here. I'm laying on my back in the middle of the lobby, dog. And I got to my room. I'm like, I don't think I can do this. Like, I don't even know what's happening right now. Like, I can't eat, I can't do nothing. And then you just get it's crazy. You get some sleep, have a Pop-Tart, get back out there. You have a Pop-Tart, get back out there. But after day one, I felt very unsure. And then morning two, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what happens. Like you're gonna have. This lady told us that this lady Holly, she came in second place overall. Shout out to the two women that finished first and second over all the guys that was out there. Holly told me she was like in the beginning, she was like, there's gonna be highs and lows, but the lows are gonna last for they could last for a long time, and they're gonna be very low. So she was like, but you will come out of that. But they're gonna be, it's not a marathon where it's just like you hit a wall, and you just kind of like slug it out for the last 10, 6, whatever, how many ever miles the wall lasts, But she was like, it's just going to be there for a while, and you're just going to have to try to figure it out. And if she didn't tell me that, I would have just thought I was dying, Like, it's obvious you're going to hit lows, but it's hard to fathom, like, how low you will be at certain points,
I can imagine. So day two is here. What time were you guys getting out in the morning to get started, and how was those first few steps on those days?
Like so the race started at 4 a.m. and then so we were trying to like mimic that because that's a really good time to start. Like 4 a.m. is really good because like the sun's not out. Not out yet.
Aaron's like, I'm sorry. I don't understand what you're
saying. Day one was 92 degrees. So it's like this is about to happen forever in our minds because we're gonna go to the desert, so we gotta start early, and then you only have so much time, like, and it's either do you want to run at night or you want to start early in the morning. And night running seems cool until you like are going into places you've never seen before, so you have no reference of like what's over there, what I'm saying? Like, and then if you run 4 in the morning, it's very dark, but it's also the sky has started to kind of like illuminate a bit, so it's less like scary, to be honest. So like, but we started every morning. We started around like anywhere between like 4:30 and like 5:30.
So going back real quick, because Ern, I talked to Ern a little bit today on the run. He mentioned you guys actively decided not to night run. Is that really just because of the fear of the unknown? Or like,
yeah.
Where the road is or what's out there? Because you guys got wildlife too. I heard you got some wildlife interactions.
You got hit. I mean, by the time we had a bunch of people who were warning about dogs. Like that's just like part of this race because you go through like towns with people who have dogs and they don't believe in fences or leashes or like whatever. So they just be out sometimes. So we had already gone through enough of that by the time we were like, okay, let's try to run at night. And you don't really like know like what all that stuff does, like takes a toll on you. Like you're already on edge so much. You're on edge during the day. So then like if you're going through an area where you have no idea what's beyond you, like you don't know what's past your headlamp, it just gets to be kind of crazy. And then you start like making up stuff. Like you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So like, I mean, I didn't do any research to see like where, coyotes and mountain lions are, So you just like it just starts to, some people do it, like people do it all day, like people they love it, like they get out there and they run at night and it is what it is. But for me, we tried it one time. We were going through this like sketchy, it wasn't even that sketchy, but it was just sketchy because it was dark and we ain't like it, so we just didn't do it no more. And we did run at night a little bit at the end because I did pull up to Vegas at 3 a.m. But it's your city again, like it's closer, you're in the city, but some of that stuff is just so in the middle of nowhere that unless you've done this race before, because a lot of these people have done this race in relay form. Most people's entry to this is relay.
Yeah.
So they've seen a lot of this, and then they go, oh, there's nothing there, it's fine. But we had no reference to that, and it was just I wasn't feeling it. If I did it again, I would probably, this is sound crazy, I would probably just intentionally start earlier in the morning, just to and end it as soon as it gets dark, wake up at 3 and go. Just because it's just a different type of energy when you know that their sun is going to come up eventually in the next like couple hours. It's different than knowing that you're just going into darkness for however long.
Yeah. I get that.
If y'all got questions too, throw them out there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't hesitate to chime in because we all want to know and we kind of want to relive it. So I'm currently on your Strava, and day 2 it looks like. So you said day 1 you covered 64.21 miles in 11 hours and 48 minutes of moving time. And then day 2, 59.01 miles in 11 hours and 25 minutes of moving time. So talk to us about the logistics of fueling and how you were planning out when you were going to eat, when you were going to hydrate, how were you doing these things. Let us know how those thoughts and how that went.
So fuel, like my fueling strategy was like I had Scratch, high carb. I had Scratch, like the electrolyte hydrate mix, and for like during the day like that, like I was using Scratch for like all the fueling parts of it. But I plan on eating first thing in the morning, at least like a bagel or something like that, and then having like a second type of breakfast or something like that around like 8 o'clock. So you out for maybe 4 hours, and then have lunch, and then have dinner. But throughout the middle of the day, it was like either electrolytes, and then eventually it started just to be more like water. Because I never felt like tired. I never, like through a lot of the hills, you just get it's a little work, but I just never felt like I was. It's not like marathon tired. It's not like I'm burning too many carbs and calories. Like it's just like I didn't have to replace that. I had to stay hydrated more so than anything. As the days went on, I thought that I was gonna need Scratch high carb a lot because I was just gonna use all that. But then after I think you kind of like you kind of tap that out a little bit, and then eventually it's like Dante was like, "Here, you want some water?" I'm like, "Nah, give me high carb." You know what I'm saying? And then like day 2, I was like, "Please give me water. Like I need water so bad." So eventually it's just for me it ended up being more so electrolytes in the morning, like heavy electrolytes in the morning, maybe once in the middle of the day again. But everything else was just like water and then just food. Like food was like I could eat. It was good. I couldn't really eat the first night. I think it's just because I was probably just all over the place. But after that, it was like hard, like food. And the food was like, I could eat whatever in any moment because you're not moving fast enough for me to reject it. And I had tried to practice eating while running and stuff like that. So I think maybe that helped a bit. But the fueling strategy was just like really just all of this for all of us was just like not making it up as we went, but just like learning as we go and like adjusting, trying things. That's not going to work. This isn't going to work. Let's keep moving, picking up stuff from the other runners that are out there that have done this before. Like this one guy named Cody, he was like, I ended up running with him for like maybe 15, 20 miles off and on throughout day 1. And he's done a few 100-milers and all that stuff. So he was just like, he knew what he was doing, but it was just like, it was cool to like hear people give their advice to us as it was happening. And we just kind of like take it and go.
So would you say day 2 was, I don't want to say easier, but did you learn day 2 to make day 2 smoother?
I thought I did, and I think day 2 went really smooth. But then I think somewhere in there, I felt like I was disappointed in day 2 actually because I only ran 59 miles, and I thought that day 2 was kind of like, what's up, Nicholas? Day 2 is kind of like a little more downhill in the beginning. So I'm like, okay, this is the day we gonna go 70, but that fatigue started to kind of set in a bit. So it was a little tougher. You know what I'm saying?
There we go. Another crew member here.
Yeah.
Shannon. So Shannon was out there with you as well. How much support was he really outside of driving the camper? Because I hear he got out there for a few miles, but he was more so a driver and the route specialist.
That was huge though. Like going into it, in my mind, I thought in my mind it was more like who's gonna run with me, who's gonna pace, but it was really like everybody just had a role, and then they just played it like so well, like in Shannon's was like the RV was his, like he knew where it was going, he knew where we were going, he knew like where the next dumping station was for the thing. Like he literally this is, nobody had to worry about anything about that camper really except for Shannon. And that was just like a huge, me being outside of it and away from it, to come back to no stress about anything. Like every time it was a gas station, he was filling just because fill up gas. And he knew hey, we're going here. Here's the next turn. This segment's this long, figure out, he was that was perfect because, Dante and Ern did a lot of heavy lifting on the mileage, but then Ern was whenever he wasn't running, he was right there to help with everything. If I needed water or whatever, Ern had the ice water ready. He was just super helpful in all those little moments where it's he pulled a bucket out with water and for me to put my feet in, everything was perfect. Dante, if she wasn't running, she was chefing up something real quick and making sure that all the bottles were right and labeled, and I didn't have to think about anything other than try to move forward,
Yeah, you said that earlier when we talked briefly about it. I was saying I didn't want to talk a lot about it, but you said that just feeling the support from a group of people. You said someone told you that it was the most support they'd ever felt in their life. I thought that was pretty interesting to hear you say that. But then again, it makes sense because you had 4 people out there with you, and their only job is to make sure you complete the mission. So they're fully in service to the goal that you're also in service to. So I think the potential for camaraderie and just teamwork and understanding that this is bigger than yourself is huge. That I'm sure that got you through a lot of those low moments that you were talking about.
Yeah, because it's I was talking to you about it. It's a guy named Victor who wrote, I think maybe it's on Instagram or something like that. And he's it's a solo endeavor, but it's he said it was the most support he's ever felt in his life. And I felt that 100%. And it's I told you, it's we have our parents, that most of their existence this after we're born is to make sure we're okay. But then even in those moments, they got to go to work, they got they have separate lives. There is no moment where it's just where they can be everything all day for 6 days is about one thing. And to be honest, the privilege to be able to do one thing for 6 days, only one thing for 6 days, it's a unique experience. You could play basketball 6 days, in a row, but you still got other stuff in between. And so to have 4 people that literally were they're not going nowhere, I'm not going. When I'm running, and I didn't realize until day 4 or 5 that they got conversations going, they got issues that they're handling, they got they got jokes and stuff, everything's happening in this thing while I'm just out here moving. And I come back, and as soon as I come back, it's what you need, put your feet up, they not put the couch down, it's just. And then when I was having super low moments, which is so often I always say I'll never get as low as I was during alcoholism as I, like during running, but I wouldn't say it was low, bro. Like so many lows. Like, yeah, like if somebody says that with their dogs, so many dogs, but there were so many lows. Like you'd have like your lowest moment 3-4 times a day, like every day, just because it just hits so hard. Like you have, and it's you hit a low and you're at 80 miles out of, and you still got 260, and you're trying your best to be where your feet are, all that silliness, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like it's such a massive like thing to like wrap your mind around, that is your brain is like, it's like a hard, it's tough to do, but then they're right there, like they're clear, they're like they're just right where they need to be. Like one time I was running, and like full disclosure, like my friend passed like 9 days, like my best friend like passed like 9 days before this event. So like, and then the manner which she passed was like very close to like probably what I'm like raising money for. So like the race went from me being dedicated to raising money for Release Recovery to like this is being dedicated to him. And I had this random moment like day 2 where I was just running down this road doing pretty decent. Like I felt fine. And I think like the song might have like just been something. I was listening to some music and like I just broke down like crying, like full stop. And Ern was on a bike, like right, he happened to be on a bike right there. And when I stopped, like just like when I finally came to a stop, his hand was on my shoulder. Like before I could even like, and I thought about it for a second, like how did he get off the bike that fast? Like, and then I was able just to keep running like 10 seconds later. But it was like, you just don't understand like how like we talk about friend groups make make us stronger and better when we want to quit, we want to break. Like this is the extreme version of life. Like you got a good friend group with you and they're all like okay with going along like and helping you at times. Like everything just becomes so much easier. And it's just so many moments like that where you just didn't realize like how much you depend on other humans. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
and I was in the photos that you were posting, the photos that Olu was taking, like it captured the emotional weight of what you were doing so well. And
Yeah.
I think maybe it's because I know who you are, like, and I know like you aren't the most like emotionally expressive person, like in your day-to-day life. So to see you going through those swings, to see like you intensely like feeling like your feelings and like wearing them like that, I knew that it was like an experience that couldn't really be quantified. And also I knew that it was much more emotionally heavy than, I mean, obviously it's this huge physical undertaking. Like, it's a huge endurance thing, but I think in a vacuum, you were ready for that. Like in a vacuum, you physically,
100%.
you were trained to be, you did the training, you prepared your body in a way that was sufficient to cover the distance. But I think there was an emotional and probably spiritual side of it that you can't prepare for. And you already were in a state of high, elevated, emotional, feelings and things like that with, the things that you went through right before. But to see how emotionally just invested you were, it made me think like, I wonder how much that is playing into the difficulty. And if that is adding like an additional layer of fatigue into the situation, because you do have these huge swings of emotions from highs to lows. Like, talk to us about that. Like, do you feel like that navigating that was a difficult thing for you?
No, I think that like even when I accept, like I've always like kind of like I've always like you said, I've always trended like naturally like a heavier emotion than like like you see people that's always like kind of bubbly and stuff like that, and I like man, I wish I could be that, but like I've always kind of trended that way. So when I accepted this, I knew that like something like this would be very emotionally heavy for me, because at some point you wear down on all like the facade, like and I was like ready for that. And then when this extra layer happened, it was like I knew I needed that. Like I wanted to experience all of that, and so actually at my a lot of that stuff like that was challenging, and maybe that would probably wear on other, like it made me feel like I had more of a reason to continue, like I was like, I just feel like we all, not to like, I'm not gonna get preachy or nothing like that, but it just nothing like I'm not sure if I believe that we were all like born, with one thing at the end. If you missed that, you missed your calling thing. Like I feel like we're all given a few things, and then life happens and we end up where we end up. And you're supposed to use the gifts and things that you have from the beginning to make sense of everything. Like find your purpose through all these things. Like, so all that stuff that's heavy for me, like I felt like that's why I was there, like that's why I was able to say yes, to it, because if all that stuff didn't happen, I don't know if I would have said yes. And then if I did say yes, I would have had a totally different experience. But now that I've done that, I feel like that's just one more thing, one more reason why I got to continue like whatever direction. So it felt heavy, but I was like, I feel like I was meant to carry that, in my journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Silas, he asked you this earlier, but he came in specifically for this reason. So he said, had you stated your why you chose to do this? And I think this is a good segue for us to talk about your actual, well, I'm not going to say your reason for being there, but a large portion of why you were there, which was to raise money and support Release Recovery, and why that is so near and dear to your heart. Many of our listeners and your fans already know, but talk to us a little more about that piece of it and how often you leaned on knowing that you are doing this for a bigger purpose and how that helped you get through it.
Well, yeah. So like, the first reason, like when they asked about it, because the first thing is I had the ability to maybe put together a team event, like, I was trying to think of either a team or solo. And then like a couple of people, I was talking to a couple people like, yeah, I think I got an invite or whatever. And, people were like, oh, you're going to do a solo? Like as if like I had done anything that would make people think I was going to do something solo. And I said, no, so fast, like, no, because in my mind, it was no, because that's impossible for me. No, because I'm not, that's not my thing, blah, blah, blah. But then as I sat with that, like, I just didn't like how I said no so fast. And for the reason I said no. So then I'm like, okay, if I did this, what would make me want to do this? Number one, knowing that I trained well for it, which I know I could do. And then two was like, I need to have it be for a cause that makes sense to me. And I had just raised money for Release Recovery in New York. So I was like, if I can talk to my coach, she thinks we can do this, then I'm going to do it. And I'm going to raise money for Release Recovery. Release Recovery Foundation raises money to give scholarships to people who are battling with addiction to get into rehab. Rehab, like on average, costs like $6,000 to $7,000 for a month. And certain struggles and addiction, certain people need more than 30 days. But 30 days is pretty standard to be able to get in there and like actually make change, And I never specifically struggled enough for me to be into rehab. Luckily, God blessed me in that way where I was able to make a decision and not need rehab. So like that means a lot to me to be able to help people that went farther than I did in that lane. And then, but then also like it was the reason why I said yes, and the reason why I did it and why I chose to do that was because I've said no to so many things, purely because I didn't think I could, and I didn't believe in myself, and didn't think that I was the right person for it. And I was just like, at that moment, I was just like, I'm not doing that no more, because I said I couldn't. At one point, I said I could never go a month without drinking, and only because I just didn't think I was strong enough to do so. And I didn't like that. And I didn't like thinking that at this point in my journey, I was saying no for almost the same reasons. So I was like, no, that's not happening anymore. And then if I do this, I feel like I'm personally, or Tommy Runs is in a decent enough position to maybe inspire someone else to do something like radical for them. And that was enough to say yes for.
Yeah. And so we just dropped the link to donate to Tommy's efforts. The donation link is still available. You've already raised more than half of the $10,000 goal that you set out to reach. So
and the 10 was just like a random. I was like, fine, I'm just gonna put 10,000. Right now, I think we're like at 6,200, and like that's the average 6,000 to 7,000. So if we got to 7,000, I'm gonna keep pushing it until like it closes or whatever. But I feel so good to be able to like say that potentially like this effort and people that wanted to sign on with me like saved a life, because it's like, I mean, it's fairly obvious, like you help someone get into rehab and then it actually changes their lives and saves their lives. That changes everything. Like you didn't just save that life, you like family members, like that, like that, like, you know what I mean? Like you changed everybody's life in that family. So I'm so grateful. And thank you. If anybody donated $1,
yeah. So
like, thank you so much.
So when we were talking earlier, you mentioned that there was a point in the desert where you looked around and you within 2 miles of me. Was that your opportunity to pass gas with like no guilt feeling at all? It was like I could rip the loudest one without any care in the world.
I mean, Aaron, the desert is a delicate ecosystem.
You can start shifting habitat.
Right. Bro, that was like that was over 200 miles into the race by then. So no, like I deserved to freely fart like 100 miles ago. So I did realize I was listening to Bad Religion by Frank Ocean, and I started singing. I'm like, dang, can't nobody hear me. So I'm like screaming this song at the top of my lungs. And at one point, I'm like, I paused it for a second. I'm like, it's nobody within 2 miles. So I screamed, like yelled a couple times. Like it was like, it felt great. It was like the most freeing feeling. Luckily it was during the day, because if it was at nighttime, I'd probably still be out there. But
you start hearing an echo come back at you.
Yeah, we'll saying something different. No. But it was a crazy
when you
vibe.
sung the line, I could never make him love me. Did Joe pop out of nowhere? Hey, pause, bro. Pause there, bro.
Yeah. No, yeah. If somebody started singing back, bro, I literally would have died on spot. But no, it was in Death that was in Death Valley too. It's like that was just it's a crazy road. Like you on Death Valley for 60 miles or something like that. So that's a day. But it was a vibe though, for sure.
Hey, we go ahead?
Oh. No, go ahead, Gary.
I think you want to talk about the shoes and Adidas?
Oh. Oh, and how about we take a little pause on that for a second?
Talk about this?
Yeah, go ahead, talk about this for a second. I'll grab the shoes.
All right. So I think I'm almost out of these crunchy organic strawberries.
I've been out for a week.
Yeah. Actually, I took 2 of those by accident before a workout, and then I looked at the serving size. It said, take 1, but what you got is the alt red, and that's for like the kind of pre-workout, get your blood vessels a little bit bigger, so more oxygen can kind of get and flow through your veins. My blood vessels were double the size because I actually took double the portion of what we were supposed before a workout this week, and I nailed the workout, so I'm going to say it was a success. But definitely, they're small bottles, so don't be making that mistake again for sure.
Yeah, I took it before the race in Philly. I took it for a couple workouts too. It's cool. I don't know how much of my performance can be attributed to the fact that my blood vessels were a bit more, streamlined, but I like the placebo effect. If it's just placebo, that's cool.
Oh
too.
no, I popped a few like day 4 and 5, just because I was like, I need whatever energy I can. Actually, day 5 and 6. I was like, whatever I can, I'm gonna take a couple of these, and I believe it worked because I was taking the beetroot. This podcast is sponsored by Sir Nutrition. If you want 15% off Sir Nutrition, go to their website, sur.co PR project. You get 15% off. The snacks are good. The meal shake is not out yet, but it's gonna be great.
Should be soon because it's April now.
Should be soon. But they have a beetroot supplement that I've been I was taking every day during training. The beetroot. So I'm like, oh, I could safely take this. So I tried it, and I don't know. I'm here, so it probably helped.
Yeah, I've been doing the beetroot supplement, and then for the big workouts, I'll do the alt red as well. I feel like the whole purpose of it is to have your blood vessels and get more oxygen into your blood cells and whatnot. And I've had a couple pretty good weeks of training. My body feels sore, but I do feel fit, and I think that's helpful. Help. I think the beetroot and the beetroot supplements have been helping for sure. And then for these, I think this is my last bag of the crunchy strawberries and mangoes. My kids love them. I love them. They're really good. They're really good. They're a good snack.
Yeah.
Have you guys been eating these as well?
I'm not. They stick.
I ate the whole,
You guys can
whole
have
bag
mine.
once.
I
like them, but the consistency, they stick to my teeth, and I
They
don't
stick
like
to your
it.
teeth.
Yeah.
Now, me and my daughter, my youngest, will share these because
I can feel that.
I have bags left from TRE, so y'all can have my bags too. Like
We'll
they
take
taste
them.
good, but I just
Only thing about the crunchy strawberries, you can tell that the crunchy strawberries are legit strawberries because they definitely still have the seeds in them.
Yeah.
So that's a little funny, but I like them. They're cool. Like I said, I could eat the whole bag in one sitting because I have no ability to portion control. So good thing one bag of strawberries is only like 95 calories.
Yeah. There he goes.
Yep.
So
shout out to you had is good too. I'm almost out of
Sir Nutrition. Shout out to Sir Nutrition for sure.
And before we jump back into more heavy TSP stuff, I am currently looking at our YouTube page, and we have quite a few people in here. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. We are at 499 subscribers, and 500 would be a nice round number to pass over.
Let's
get us to 500 subs, and we may have something.
Are we all subscribed? Because I'm subscribed.
I think I'm subscribed.
I get it.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I'm subscribed. But yeah, so I grabbed the shoes. Let's pop so I got this is what I wore in a TSP. I didn't add up the miles yet. But I wore these for the most part.
What are they? Really, Adidas got
these are These are the Adidas Adizero Evo SL. This is their daily trainer. Is the Evo SL. They have a few colorways. They have a blue colorway as well. But I wore these on day one. This is the Adizero Adios Pro 4, right? Purely because I thought they looked sweet. And it matched my shirt that I was wearing. So honestly, they actually were great. They saved my legs.
Out with?
Yeah,
because Believe in the Run, they were talking about the shoe choice, and they were like, "Is that the?"
Oh, they talked about my shoe choice.
Yeah, the first couple of days, and they're like,
"Yeah, no, it just
shoe to wear the."
It worked out. It worked out. Like I knew I was gonna be climbing. I knew I needed to save my legs as much as possible, so I wore a super shoe, and here we are. But then day 2, 3, 4, I wore this colorway, and day 5 and 6, I wore this colorway of the Evo SL. This shoe, everybody in the crew wore them. This shoe is a workhorse, and I'm here to attest to that. These shoes are great. Adidas did an amazing job.
And you had a trail shoe. You have a trail shoe too, right?
I had a trail shoe. I had the Terex Agravic. By then I was just like shot. So I just needed to get through that section. I'd love to wear them again and I give you a real review, but it would be a terrible review right now because anything different after 200 miles, anything different on your foot is like a nightmare.
That's my other question. What were you soaking your feet in? Epsom
Water
salt? Just water?
and ice, just water and ice, like cold water, just because like just to bring the swelling down.
Yeah. I didn't know if you had like Epsom salt or
Yeah,
you know,
no, we didn't get too fancy.
desert magic.
Desert magic, yeah. That
I thought
stuff.
it was your tears, to be honest.
Yeah,
I saw
some of
somebody
that
comment
too.
on your Strava. I saw somebody comment on your Strava and said, I hope you brought shoes that are a half size or maybe a whole size big because your feet are going to swell as the week goes on. And I thought, I'm like, wow, that
thank you.
interesting.
Thank you so much for telling me that on day 4. So I read that. And I was like, thanks, thanks so much.
Sir.
Man, but no, like I didn't, but these shoes have a lot of room in them. My big toe, both my big toenails are shot, but I think that was from like so much of the up and downhill. My feet didn't swell up that. My feet swelled after, like Sunday. My feet were like my ankles were huge. But other than that, like the shoes were actually pretty good. Like I think if I had a half size more, maybe my toenails would be okay. But the shoes were, I think it was more like the up and downhill.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that. Like, what were some of the noticeable physical changes that you went through over this 6-day journey?
Man,
I know you had hip issues. I know that was.
It was like I don't even know if I gotta go in and like see what the issue was. I don't know if it was like hip issue, but or more like I don't know, like because it was like at some point like it was harder to walk than it was to run or jog. So like I knew that I needed to walk jog. So whenever I'd walk, it was like real labored. But then the running part was okay, and I started running with the sticks and stuff like that. Those help out a lot, take a lot of the pressure off the legs. But yeah, physically it was just a lot of up and down. Like I started off Saturday morning about to quit. Like I after like a mile of like walking with Shannon, I was like I went back into the trailer and I just like sat down. Like if I knew they didn't want to be there, I would have been like, we should just drive the rest of the way, because like I couldn't imagine. We had 70 more miles that day if we were gonna finish that day, and I knew at that point I couldn't even think of running. So I tried. I think I was trying to quit, but I just didn't say it out loud. And they all were like, "No, we're here with you. This is what we're doing." All the way to the finish. And we did some like some workouts and some like stretching and all that stuff, massage gun, and then was able to get back out there. But it's just crazy, like what your body, like at one point your body would be like, we're not doing any of this. We can't do any of this. And then like 2 hours later, you've been running for an hour and a half, and moving and feeling fine, laughing, joking. And then like 20 an hour later, you can barely walk. And then like 2 hours after that, you're back moving again. Your body, the human body is strange and can do wild things. And I thought about that a lot, like day 4, 5, 6. Like I have no idea how I'm out here still. Like I don't know how I did it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that there's this idea, well, not idea, but this concept of central nervous system fatigue. They talk about it in baseball a little bit. And it's basically saying like your muscles might not be pushed to their limits, but you can fatigue your central nervous system to a point where your brain body pathways aren't firing in the most efficient ways. So like those days that you feel weird, those days that you just don't feel like normal, it could be attributed to fatigue of your central nervous system. And that isn't only a physical thing, like stress and heavy workload mentally can play a part in that too. So I'm sure you were dealing with some of that too. Like it wasn't just the physical part. It was your central nervous system was in shock because all of this effort and all of this mental and emotional fatigue that you were putting out, you were overloading your body. So yeah, it makes sense that sometimes it was fine and sometimes that it wasn't.
No, and at the end of every day, like I'd have every intention of running like another hour or something like that, or moving another hour. And once you got if when you woke up dealing with some pain and you kind of just been working your way through pain for 16 hours or 15 hours, like at some point you just like there is no more. Like and then it all like happens all at once. Like it's just like, nope, that's it. Like I wanted 2 more miles. Stop the camper. We're right here. That's it.
Yeah, and Shannon said he really tapped into something on Saturday afternoon. So Saturday was the last day, and like you said, you were
last full day.
You were pretty. At that point, you guys were pretty solid on the idea of finishing that day, no matter what. So
at that point,
how was that? What was that like?
Man, it was like starting that day like trying to quit basically, and then like halfway through the day, just like still moving pretty well, still going, like hit 300 miles. Played a video of all y'all. That was like the most touching thing that I've ever watched. It was terrible. I'm like, Ern, you ain't right, bro. Like I was having a good day, you know? But like part of it was because like the team, like they had been so great, you know, like and after a while, like of me going through all these ups and downs, you can't, like, you start to try to read people's minds and you think that they're ready to go. You know, like I'm like, Ern got to get back to his family, like, and I'm just out here playing around, like all this other stuff. I just felt so bad. I'm like, you know, and if I can get to 35 miles or 40 miles halfway through the day, I'm gonna go for it. Like, because that was the most miles we did all week were 64, I think 64, yeah. And so like in my mind, like running 73 or 75 was a far stretch, you know. But I'm like, I'm gonna try everything that I can to make this happen. And it was just like I had this like random push, like I just wanted to get done, you know. And it was partly because I wanted to be done, but it was also partly because like I just wanted everybody else to be done too. Like
I think that was from afar my favorite part of what you went through was the fact that day one was your most miles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think in any endurance type event, you want to cover more at the beginning and just, you know, hopefully at the end it's not that bad. So to muscle up to 73 on the last day, you know, waking up in the morning, incredible. We were just amazed. You know, I was so proud of you for that. I thought, man, he did it, because that's tough. I mean,
that was the hardest. That was like the hardest day, like my life probably, because you climb this mountain. I don't know what the name of it is, but you climb this mountain to go back into the valley of Vegas, mm-hmm. and it's a 1,500 I think it was like a 1,500 feet elevation in 10 miles, and then you still have 20 miles left to get down to Vegas, and the percent grade coming down over the mountain is 7%. So in your mind, you're climbing, I can't wait for this downhill. But then by then you're 320 miles in. And I was on, no, not even quads, like everything, like my quads are fine. Like you can't even run them hard enough for your quads to be, I couldn't run them hard enough for your quads to even be a problem. It was every joint was just like, so basically, long story short, I was on that hill for, I think I was on that hill for 5 hours.
Yeah, Ern said y'all was power walking 13-minute miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Downhill because it was just so aggressive.
Yeah, because you just, and then that would just, every step was just like hurt, like more and more pain. And by the time like I was on that hill for 5 hours. And it was like, I was so upset by then. Like in the last 4 miles was just flat, you know, coming into, that was the longest 4 miles of my life. Like I was mad. I was like, this is the dumbest thing. Like, I knew my watch wasn't there yet. And I was just like, when is it going to happen? Like, so yeah, a solid 5 hours on the hill. And we ate this bag of chips. The bag of chips kind of helped for sure. I had a bag of bag of Lay's potato chips, and something happened. And as soon as we got flat, I was able to kind of like start moving again. But that last 30-40 miles was something special, bro. Like the worst moment. It was terrible. It was terrible.
So I think my favorite and maybe the most moving portion of what you posted was that those last few steps. leading up to the sign. You can see the sign, big lights. It's dark outside. Clearly, you've been out there for quite some time. Set the scene for us and let us know what that feeling of having the sign in your view and knowing that it was coming to a close and that you finished it and you made it happen.
All right, so I'm not gonna. So part of the video that everybody made, that Aaron put together, that he hit my kids up, and one of the things that Thomas said was like, "Hey, Dad, I know you having a rough time, whatever. Just stay in it. I'm proud of you. Finish strong. Just try to finish strong. Finish strong." So like, I really was just gonna like try to walk in the last couple miles or whatever, just because like by then I was just done. But I kept hearing him say finish strong. So by the time I had turned, you could kind of see the sign for a while because you're on this one road, you're on Las Vegas Boulevard for a little bit, enough where you can you can't tell because it's a small sign. It's not like that. It's not like some like massive Vegas sign. So it's kind of like behind some trees, and I'm like, I think that's it. Like, so like I was kind of like walk jogging, and then eventually I knew for sure it was it, and I'm like, just jog it in, like, and a couple random moments in the last few miles, like you just be overcome with like emotion, but go away so fast just because it's like you've been dealing with that a lot and you just push everything away. And so like the last when you get to the little part where you can surely see it, I'm like, this is crazy, I'm about to do it, and I think I was fine. But then there's this like small little hill, like it's like a hump in the grass 2 feet before the sign. And like I remember hitting that little hill and like having to like put my hands on my knees, like, because like, and it just slowed me down from like the momentum I had. And then that's when everything like hit, like that. I was like, that was it. Like it's over, And I touched the sign, and the emotion that I felt like at that moment was just so like so proud, like, and I felt proud. I felt like loved. I felt, I just felt like it's almost it's like indescribable, like what it feels like to be done with something like so much of a roller coaster for so many days. And I was just happy to be like, we're done with this, but crazy. And then you just sit there and look at the sign, like, I've been running 6 days to get to this. Like, like it better spit out some poker chips or something. But no, it was such a crazy vibe.
Speaking of poker chips, do you got your ice? Do you got your commemorative medal for finishing? We need to see that.
All right, that's so crazy. This is the finisher's medal. Everybody, like, to all the relay people, they get a chip, and then all the solo people get the 2 dice that say solo on it. TSP 2025. I said I was gonna wear this for as long as possible. I may wear this every now and then. I may shorten up the chain a little bit because it's not my style. But I did all that for this. At first, I thought there was no medal, bro. I had made a joke to somebody. I was like, all that for no medal, huh? And they're like, oh no, we're getting one tonight. I'm like, oh, thank God, because that'd have been rough, bro. That'd have been rough. But yeah, man, I didn't mean for, like, I know, like, this was just like, I feel so like I said, I feel so supported. Like, everybody on IG was super supportive, and even like the reaction to some of the videos I was putting up. Big shout out to Shannon, because Olu was getting like the bigger content because we're putting something together like as a bigger piece. But Shannon just pulled out the DJI Osmo, was going crazy. Sent me a couple of videos day one. It wasn't even the plan. He sent me a couple of videos, and I was like, oh, let me get that. So made the reels real quick, and it came out super high quality. So I'm like, let's just run that back. I was so happy to be able to share like some of like the moments, like behind the scenes stuff. But so many people like, donated and hit like and share and all that stuff. Oh my God, no. So hold on, I'm sorry. We are an hour and 10 minutes into this, but hold on one second. So listen.
Well, read the question for the podcast.
Oh, Ern Holly said, did we talk about the tribe of women who fed us in the desert, in the forest? It was really a desert. So this lady Flora, who's she was ahead of us. She was ahead of us when we started on day 4. And day 4 was my bad day with everything. It was off-road. I was hurt-ish. But everything for the next 20 miles was off-road. So it made it worse. I was seeing her. We walking on this trail. She just disappears. We think that like she gone. We get to a certain spot. She's sitting crisscross applesauce on the side of like the like on a grate, on a random like metal grate on the like in the desert, like behind these bushes. She just sitting there crisscross applesauce with her shoes off. And she's like, "Hey, I was waiting on you guys." Like, it just seemed crazy. Like, we joked and said it was like when Simba ran into Rafiki. Like, but so she like, I'm like, "Oh, my hip hurt. I'm having troubles, whatever." She's like, "Oh, my crew, they're on the other side of this mountain, so they got like Tylenol and whatever you need." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And so she goes ahead. We finally get over this mountain. We climb this mountain and we shimmy our way down. They got a Jeep right at the bottom of the mountain. And I'm like expecting, ibuprofen and maybe like some pain, like some topical pain rub or whatever, right? They give me that. And they're like, "You want some coffee?" All they got is a Jeep, not a camper. They're like, "You want some coffee?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You want some oat milk with that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You want some oatmeal?" We're like, "Yeah." "You want some apples in that?" "Yeah." "You want some candy?" "Yeah." And they gave us so much stuff, bro. They gave us water, coffee, painkillers, German candy, charged my phone. These people like literally saved my life in the desert. Like, they had everything that you could possibly like. We went to CVS and more with this random Jeep. These ladies saved our lives. So
and then you find out after you finish that those ladies have been there 5 years ago.
yeah. No, but like, right. But that was probably my best moment, because that was my lowest point in the race for me, like a stretch, and they were happen to be there with like everything that we needed and more, and oranges. It was crazy, but like that kind of shows like the energy and the spirit of TSP, especially solo. The relays are different because it's like they're all pushing and going crazy through the night. But the solo, like the crews are very intent, like they're very intentional. They like you want something to drink. Like if they see you out there and they don't see your crew nearby, they'll offer you whatever they got. It was a beautiful experience.
I hope you left them a good review on Yelp. 5 stars.
Bro,
5 stars. 5
yeah,
stars.
bro. I highly recommend Airbnb Jeep side of
I
mountain.
I will gladly be haunted by the spirit again.
I asked like, "Is y'all real?" Because people say like you hallucinate, like because people really do hallucinate after a certain amount of time out there. You just start picturing things, I was like, "Are y'all real?" And she was like, "I think so," But
that's the most non-real response they could have gave you. I think so.
But yeah, I sorry to hijack the episode. But it was just a crazy. This was I couldn't have done it without the crew. I couldn't have done it. Like the video that the messages that both of y'all left were just like it was I didn't know I needed that, it was just I deserved it because that's what happened, but like in a past life I would have said that like I don't deserve this, because it was just so much love for so long that like when people ask me about this, like I'm still trying to process and write about it so I can like figure out like what just happened, and then like what does that mean for like the rest of my purpose, because that's one thing that I realized out there is like it's big, like the side, like the sheer, like the how small we really are, like it's really like it's crazy. The one thing I noticed about running in the desert near mountains and things is like, and I just can't get this out of my mind, is like the more like you could be running for 3 hours on a road, and the things around you like that you're passing, like bushes change and all that stuff, and the scenery right there changes, but that mountain that's been there, like it's there, like that mountain will be on your right for so long and it's not moving. You barely feel like you're getting past it. Everything around you changes and all that, but I just felt like that's the message. Just like we find that purpose or find that thing that we like, that we really want to have and do and work for. Everything around us is going to change every day, every minute, every hour, but you just got to kind of have that, like that mountain, like in your sight and in your vision, so you can continue like to know that, like, okay, it's there, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, if that's what like every time I would look over and be like, mountain's still there, but everything else around you is just always constantly changing, but you just got to keep on it, you know?
Yeah, that's a great metaphor for life. I think we'll have an opportunity to hear more as you continue to process, because it's only been a week. So I'm sure there's a lot of things to unpack and, reflections to be made and all of that good stuff. So we'll definitely talk more about it, but I do appreciate you holding off on conversations publicly about it.
People. Yeah, I wanted this to be the first time we really talked about it. But yeah, no, it was great, and thanks for, like, sharing the, or asking all the questions, because I would have still been on like mile 7 if because but no, it was crazy, and big. So 41 solo people started. I think 35 or 34 finished. Big shout out to everybody, all the other 34, 35 people who finished and got to the sign. Huge shout out to everybody who didn't make it all the way there, because some people got to like 200 miles and had to pull the plug for whatever reason. Everybody that started that line deserves to be like shouted out in every single way. So
I look forward to seeing what Ulu puts together. I think it'd be kind of fun to get the crew on one of these, to watch the film or watch whatever he does and kind of share stories, stuff that you probably don't know and what they don't know. I'm sure it'd be kind of a fun, almost like not a reunion per se, but like a recap with everybody on the call on the podcast.
That's a great idea. We should do like a virtual screening of what the final product, and we all kind of sit around and watch it together as a community, kind of
maybe
like we're in the theater together.
Maybe raise some funds for Release Recovery Foundation in the process.
Yeah. Hey, I like you guys. I like what y'all thinking.
That's sweet. That's super sweet.
But big shout. Thank you, Aaron. Aaron got a PR.
Yeah,
Aaron got a PR.
Yeah,
Aaron got a PR.
I ran it faster than I ever ran it before, so that was cool. And I met, not met, but I met Jeff Dingate from Runner's World for the first time, so that was cool. And then
did he run?
Yeah, he ran. He did it as a marathon pace workout, and he finished like 2 minutes behind me. So that guy is super fit and ready for Boston.
He is putting in some big miles himself. He's doing like 100-mile, 90-mile weeks. Yeah.
Sure. I also saw I forget, his name escapes me, but the guy from New York Road Runners, the guy that runs New York Road Runners.
Oh, Ted.
Yep.
No. So he's New York. He's NYC Marathon.
Okay, yeah, New York City Marathon. Yeah. And he asked about you because he's like, I've been off social, and I'm like, yeah, I think he just last night just finished TSP solo, and he's like, man, that's crazy. Like, I didn't even know I was off social. I gotta check in with him and see how he's doing. So I thought that was really really cool to kind of touch base with him and let him know that you were out there doing crazy person things on the other side of the country.
Right. Yeah, man. No, Ted's a good guy. Ted's a hands down the best major marathon race director.
Yeah, and he ran the half too. So he said he liked to, since he can't run the races that they do, he liked to get out and do some stuff. So it was cool to see him everywhere. I see him a lot. That's crazy, but I mean, I guess the run space is so big. So
he's super supportive. He's super supportive.
Yeah, for sure. Philly was super cool. It was a PR. But it didn't feel like I had to like sacrifice my soul for it. Like I felt like I'd stay right where I was supposed to be at. So it was nice.
Yeah. And was it hilly at all?
It was like 2 hills. The hill at Mile 10 was exactly as advertised, maybe a little worse. It was like, but I can't complain. Like I can't even like put it in perspective right now because of what you just told us. But
no, it's so different.
It was a nice little climb for about 2 minutes, and 2 minutes at marathon pace, at half marathon pace at mile 10 of a half marathon is pretty intense. But once I got over it, I got back to pace and I got most of it back going downhill. So it was cool. It was just, for some reason, I got a good knack of picking races that finish uphill into the chute and not downhill.
Yeah,
so,
you gotta do a better job at sourcing these races, bro.
Man, that last half mile was just like a gradual climb, and I'm like, damn, I can't kick. And then I get to because the finish is right there by the Museum of Art where the Rocky Steps are, and it's like it goes uphill and then it turns and it flattens out. And as soon as it turned and flattened out, I could see the finish line, but the finish line didn't have a clock.
Oh,
What?
So I'm just like, push it. And I just like gassed it, went through the finish line, and I'm just looking around for a clock because I'm like, where's the clock? Like, I don't know what my time is. But my watch said 1:21:03. And I'm just like, my watch said 1:21:01. And I said, if I ran 1:21:01, I'm going to be very upset. But it was 1:21:03. But
official
then,
official
if there was
too.
a clock there, I might have had a little more.
Well, but then the clock wouldn't have said exactly what your watch said.
Well, I was 2 seconds off of chip time because I started right in the front.
Oh, okay. So you would have had like an idea of like, okay, I gotta get there.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the video. You finished pretty strong though.
Oh yeah, I was hauling tail for
smoking.
sure. Yeah. It was good. I didn't feel like, but once I crossed that finish line, I definitely saw I was dead on my back when I saw like Jeff came up to me and he's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine, but I'm just trying to get my bearings."
Ern said, "Did you get a mushroom Philly?"
I did not get a mushroom Philly, but I got
You got a steak Philly.
You know what I'm saying? No, but I got a roasted eggplant situation, like sandwich with like roasted peppers and onions, and it was fire. It was heat. It was heat. But Steve, this is hilarious. 2 minutes. Tommy was on here for 4 hours.
That part happened. Marijuana.
No, man.
You're right. I can't complain, bro.
I think I'd rather jog a hill for 4 hours than hit a decent hill running as fast as I can at that moment.
What did Ern say today?
This how scandalous the hill was, bro. Go ahead, Gary.
Ern said something about running fast. Running fast
overrated.
Overrated.
Overrated. Trail running is where it's at. Ultras is where it's at. Like,
yeah,
Ern has been.
He's drank the Kool-Aid.
Listen.
Ern's been converted.
Listen. Y'all thought y'all knew Ern, bro? You don't know Ern until you spend 6 days with Ern. So what I tell you, bro, the funniest part about Go Ern is somewhere in there he developed a speed walk, right? So like he would be like the shimmy. It's like one point he had this like little shimmy as he was going. I was like, bro, you look like you in Northland before the mall opened with the old lady. He had his jacket tied around his waist. He had a little speed walk on. I'm like, bro, this man is out his mind. He done got too comfortable out here in the desert.
Got some wrist weights.
Right. Had some ankle and wrist weights out there, bro. But honestly, man, like shout out to Ern. Ern put up 103 miles or 6 miles, something like that. Dante put up 122 miles for the week. I think Shannon on the last day was like, I'm doing 30 miles today. Like, I'm like, all right, I don't know what he ended up doing, but he definitely did a lot of miles that day. But I shared a lot of miles and I did a lot of solo miles too, obviously, but I shared a lot of miles with some good folks, and it'll be something I'll never forget, ever.
And before we go, I would be remiss to not shout out all of the racing that's been done this weekend and last weekend. We had Cherry Blossom, we had Philly, we had Crenshaw Mile. Crenshaw Mile looks super
Crenshaw
cool.
Mile happened today,
yeah,
right?
That was today, this morning. Yeah, that looks super cool. We had Grand Slam track.
Grand Slam track.
We had a 10-mile world record today at Cherry Blossom on the women's side.
Yep.
A 10-mile American record on the men's side. So a lot of running related news and great news. So shout out to the running community for pulling.
Well, we're like 3 weeks away from Boston.
Yeah.
Really?
2 weeks. 2 weeks in a day? Like 15
Yeah.
days?
Yeah.
15 days out from Boston.
3 weeks out from Eugene.
20 something days away from Eugene and London.
Yep.
London's
Yeah, I
on the
forgot.
same day. Road to Records for Adidas is in Berlin, or not in Berlin, but in Germany. Yeah, man, it's gonna be the spring is always promising. So
The spring is going crazy. Eugene
Spring is
is
fun.
April 27th.
April 27th.
April 27th.
21 days from today.
My mom said, "Who's running Eugene?" Gary's running Eugene. Ern's running Eugene. Aaron and I are there for moral support and cheering, and then we're going to be interviewing Kira D'Amato, who's running Boston. So everybody say a good prayer and some good energy for Kira D'Amato in Boston on Boston Monday, because 5 days later she'll be on the stage with us,
Yeah.
and
We don't
she's
want
got
to
a new
crash
coach. No, we don't want a crabby Kira. She got a new coach. She moved to Utah. She got a lot riding on this, and she's training with Connor Mance and all those guys out there. So it should be a vibe. So shout out
That'll
to
be
that.
nice. We get hopefully the exclusive of,
First in person.
Yeah.
At least.
so that'll be super sweet. And one last thing, I will be racing again on Saturday, half marathon, and
I didn't know if you was gonna.
I will be running another PR. I'm gonna put that out there right now.
Okay.
Another PR.
I didn't know if you was gonna announce it. I don't know if you're gonna announce it. Everybody, if you're in the Michigan area, pull up to
Dearborn.
the Martian half, right?
Martian half
In Dearborn.
marathon. We're at 8:30, 8:45.
I ain't gonna be. I'm gonna pull up. I ain't gonna be nowhere but the finish line, because that's all that matters. I'll be standing there doing like something, cowbells or the blade dance. I'm not sure.
Cool. We're gonna make it happen.
All right,
You ever said Saturday or Sunday?
It's on Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, Saturday morning.
Well,
No,
let's let these good people go. But first, shout out to Sir Nutrition for sponsoring this episode along with the other ones before this one. If you want to try the milkshake, the crunchy strawberries, the crunchy mangoes, the alt red, the everything else they have really great stuff, really great products.
Joint health.
It's all vegan products. Go to their website, support us, support them, support yourself. 15% off sir.co code PR project. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I think we out.
Don't
See
ever
you next
play
week. Don't do it.